Love it, love it, love it. Yes, sir. Great message there. Still relevant. And guess what? That's a 2014 remix, refix, rehash of it. Let's Live Together, Kush featuring Chimamanda, Flavor, and Morel. Massive song, Half a Yellow Sun. If you haven't got the book, go and get the book. If you haven't seen the film, go and see the film. Do not buy the DVD. I guarantee that it is fake. Before that, you heard Joel and Two Face with Hold On, which we every Monday I dedicated to the Man U and the Arsenal fans. Hold on. Lyrics are there for them to get some, some strength. Hold on. It won't be long now. It's going to be all right, so just let them know. Okay, Maria is here. She's lost.
No,
in translation?
I'm found. I was lost, but now I'm found.
Is that you trying? You want to sing Amazing Grace?
I get found every Monday morning. No, I don't. I'm here. I'm happy. So I'm really, really happy. Like, I've been running around. I can't sit still, but you'll find out.
You're a bit starstruck, I think.
Yeah, I think I am.
I think it's my new cologne.
It doesn't happen often,
It's my new cologne, I think.
No. Is that what that was?
Yeah.
It stunk. I thought it was your food.
No. It's like that Brad Pitt Chanel advert.
Okay, I see.
Nobody knows what he's saying, but it smells good.
Didn't he do nothing and got like millions of dollars or something? I can't remember.
$4 million, yes.
It?
I wish I got that gig. Not bad, eh? All right, it's 10 minutes after 9 o'clock today. Of course, it's a special day, 1st September, the brand new month. We've been asking you, let us know what your hopes and aspirations are for the month of September. And also, it is a big month for us as well. This month, we'll be slowing down, celebrating our 5th anniversary right here on Beat 99.9 FM. Yep. It's been 5 years already. Time flies when you're having fun. All right.
What would you have done if I had not joined after, like, I've been here for like 2 years?
I mean,
it would have been really rubbish here.
I don't know what would have happened without you, Maria.
Absolutely.
You've heard of 12 years a slave?
I have.
So we could be doing 5 years a slave here.
I'm really joking. I'm honestly.
All right. Thank you. I know it's a pleasure as ours. All right, but the reason why we're all happy this morning is not just because it's a brand new month, it's because it's a brand new day, but we have a superstar in the building. Maria, you want to do the honors?
Yes, I do. I'm so happy. A lot of you read her books, seen her literature. A lot of you are big fans, women, mothers, students, men all around the world. I'm going to give you a formal introduction in a moment, but for now, I please want to welcome the amazing, the very educated, the extremely talented. I hope I've done enough.
You're talking about myself now.
I'm not.
You're reading my biography. What do you mean? Okay.
All right, I'll get to it.
All right.
Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Morning Rush. We are so happy to have you here. How are you?
I'm very well. It's lovely to be
here. And you're looking amazing. I'd like to jump to you. Told me before who designed it for you. I think you should say it to help.
Yeah,
Samson. We can give him some.
Samson, I can give him some props, yeah.
Exactly.
Samson.
We'll be putting up the pictures later so you can have a good look. Okay, so I'm sure a lot of us know exactly who we have in the studio, but for those of you that are not sure or unaware, I have some information, some facts here about the lovely lady here. So Chimamanda is the leading African writer of her generation, of our generation. She's had huge global success. Many people may not know that she is a homegrown talent. She grew up and went to school on the campus of the University of Nigeria in Nsukka, where her father was a professor of statistics. In fact, the first professor of statistics in the whole of Nigeria. So she's come from a home of super duper talent anyway. And then in another first, her mother was the first female registrar of the university. You actually entered university to study medicine. However, you left a bit early at the age of 19 to go to the US to continue education, but on a slightly different path. Well, actually, not on a slightly different, on a completely different path. Yeah, so you've been writing from the age of 4, and writing is what you've always wanted to do, and you'd love to do more than anything else. The film has recently been out. I'm going to fast forward. Half of Yellow Sun. A lot of you should know that she wrote that. It was directed by V. Bandele. Actually won the Orange Prize for Literature, I think, back in 2007. And the name has changed. Is it the Baileys? I can't remember, something like that. I'll get to that later. But yes, I'm not going to sit here talking about you because you know everything you've done. I just want to talk to you. So welcome to the Morning Run. So how have you been?
I'm very well.
All right, we're going to kick off with some questions. We've got loads of questions coming through online, so loads of people want to ask you things as well. All right, so we're going to be talking about the success you've had, and also what your thoughts are, what's going on in Nigeria. Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay, so let's go to the book Half of Yellow Sun. Okay, when you first wrote the book, did you plan to turn it into a film, a big film with like A-list superstars and stuff?
No.
You didn't.
No.
It was not for that. So,
no.
So what made you go down that path with it?
I didn't. The film isn't mine. The film is quite separate from the book.
Okay, that's true.
I think that books in general are much more important than films.
Yes.
I watch films. I'm a film fan, but I just think books are more important. And what I do is books. So when I'm writing, I'm really not thinking about film. And when it happens, it's lovely that somebody's interested in turning your book into a film, but it's not the reason I write. If it hadn't happened, I would be as happy as I am.
You said you felt that someone taking your book and making the film, I think you quoted as it was like taking your baby from you and cutting it to pieces. So that's how you feel about it. But then,
especially if it's not represented in the right way. So,
well, yes, but I think in general, just that the film is never the same as the book, and when it's a book that means so much to you as this does to me, and Half of Yellow Sun is very important to me in a very emotional level, not just as a book. And so that it's going to be made into a film, I just didn't want to be involved with the process because I'm too emotionally connected to the book. And so in some ways it is like your baby being cut, and you love your baby, and you're hoping that the cutting up process will be done gently and well. But you don't want to be there when it's happening.
Just to you want to witness it. Speaking of your emotional involvement in Half of Yellow Sun, please tell us, if you don't mind, about the experiences you had writing it. You know, what was your mental state like when you're writing it? How was it? How was the process?
I did a lot of research. I tried to read everything that has been written about the war. I talked to lots of people, mostly my family, and I just had moments when I would stop and cry because I knew I was writing about things that people had actually experienced. And I think it's one thing to read in a book about a refugee camp. It's another to remember and to realize that my grandfather died in one of those refugee camps, and so it was emotionally draining. And the moments when I cried, but also moments when I felt not so much happy as kind of fulfilled. There's a sense of fulfillment that came with I'm telling a story I want to tell. I'm telling a story that I think is important for my country. And yes.
Okay, got to ask you. You mentioned the word process. Now we got to find out about the process. How does it work for you? There's some writers who they can just sit down and it comes to them. There are those who have to like wait a bit of time, and then they have a bit of a writer's block for a while, and then it finally comes to them, or they get some sort of muse that inspires them and sparks it off. How does it work for you? Do you have like a plan? Like, do you write at certain times of the day? Some people write at night. Do you wake up in the morning or late at night? What's the process for you?
Well, first of all, I have to light 7 red candles.
No, you're having me on. You're having me on now.
You're taking the mix.
Sound like a Nollywood film. A very bad one too.
And I have to take on several yoga positions.
Really?
And then the mantra, Adibo mantra, yeah.
Really, in general, I like when it comes. I mean, increasingly now, I just hope it comes regularly, and it really doesn't.
Have you had a lot of mental blocks?
There are moments when the writing just doesn't happen.
So what do you do? Just leave it alone?
I eat a lot of ice cream.
Okay.
Really?
This is one way to help. Right? But I read. I find that when my writing isn't going well, reading books I care about, books I love, and sometimes I read poetry as well. I think it just helps me remember how beautiful words can be.
Do you ever get like really frustrated? I know you said you obviously eat ice cream. That's a very fun thing to do about it.
Maria too.
Well, yeah, I eat ice cream anyway. But yeah.
Because once you can't talk on the radio, she eats ice cream.
But do you ever get to the point where you're really frustrated, or you just like, I know it's going to come, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to be patient?
Oh no, I never know it's going to come. Of course I get frustrated, and I also get terrified. But I like to think it's part of the creative process.
Yeah,
This is what I tell myself to make myself feel better when I'm terrified that I will never write another good sentence.
Are you looking for that great novel? You know, that one that, you know, well, I mean, the great.
For everyone doesn't know, Chimamanda's waving half the yellow sun in our faces, like,
no.
Or at least,
all right, let me rewind before we annoy our guests.
This is the one.
Okay. Okay, it's a great novel. Another great novel. Okay, do you feel that sometimes maybe you know you've done your best work and you're young right now, so you think, do you have more to come, more stories to tell?
I hope so. I hope so. But you know, I mean, I think I completely understand where the question comes from. I think there's always a fear when you create that you might not be able to create again. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think about my work in terms of this is greater than the other, because they're so different. I really don't compare. I don't compare Half of the Other Sun to Americanah or to Purple Hibiscus directly. There's such different books, and I was in such different places writing them. What I worry about is what I hope that I will be able to do is to continue to write books that matter to me, and that hopefully will matter to other people. But I don't really worry about my writing.
Okay,
I don't really think it is.
Okay, so I just want to take it back a bit. We do have a lot of our youth, a lot of our listeners listening now. They're calling you a genius. For example, I have Hi Ham Stanley on Facebook saying, "Half of the Yellow Sun, one word genius." A lot of aspiring writers are wondering, how did you get to the position you are at now? And we know you're very, very educated. Looking at some of your notes here, I know you studied at Eastern Connecticut State University, Johns Hopkins, Yale. Tell us, if we go back to the beginning, tell us about how your career started and how the journey has been till now.
You know, I think the thing about being educated, I like to say to people, and I mean this, that everything I know, I learned in primary school and also from reading books. And so while, of course, I very much support formal education, I think reading is important. I think reading widely and reading everything. And so to talk about my development as a writer is to talk about my reading. I've been reading since I was 4 or 5, and I read everything. I read poetry, I read fiction, I read non-fiction, I read history, I read politics, I read philosophy, and that's really for me what's fundamental. And in talking to young people in Nigeria, I always say, and if you want to be a writer, if you want to be anything really, you have to read. Reading is essential. So really, for me, it's that I was a reader, and that writing came really naturally. I've been writing since I was old enough to spell, and so I don't remember ever sitting down and saying, I shall now become a writer.
Okay,
just a child's natural.
It's exactly what I tell my fellow presenters here on the beat, and you have to be able to read first before you can write. I tell especially OC, Maria in the morning, I tell them, read first, before you start writing any emails.
I feel like what you said though about, you're saying that, okay, formal education is there, but you have to be able to read if you want to be a writer, if you want to be intelligent. So are you saying that if we do not follow a formal education path, we can still be successful as long as we educate ourselves, for example, through reading? If you read yourself, educate yourself, are you saying maybe you don't need to go to formal institutions?
No, I think formal institutions serve a purpose.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that I think that in Nigeria, people usually think that going to school means you sort of memorize your textbook, and then you regurgitate what you memorize in the textbook, and that means you're educated because you get A's. But you can actually do all that and end up still not being educated because you don't understand the world, and you have no basis for understanding the way things are and history and politics. And so I think that formal education is a good thing, because maybe you learn basic, so you know how much change the person is supposed to give you back. Right. But I think reading is an essential part of it. You have to, and I don't think our education system does well enough about reading. I think that young people think that, so people often will say to me, oh, storybook, right, as though it's some sort of extra thing. But I think it should be at the center of an education. Okay,
we're going to ask about that as well. So because I know that you, every year, you are part of the Farafina Trust. You guys, along with Nigerian Brewers PLC, do a workshop for writers. It's like in the 6th year now. So how did that get started, and what's the experience like for you? Because I know a lot of people out there want to become writers.
Yeah.
So how they want to you can help them get on that pathway. Yeah.
I think, well, I started the workshop because I think there's so much talent in Nigeria, writing talent, mentioned all the times. And I felt that I've been fortunate to be published, I've been fortunate to know how this process works, and I wanted to just let other people know how it works. And I think that if you put people in the same room who care about writing, there's just this wonderful sense of validation and this energy that happens. So they come together for 2 weeks. And at the end of it, I think they leave really changed in ways, and they start to tell the stories with more confidence. And that's what I wanted to do with the workshop. And people apply; it's open to anybody. We get so many people apply.
Okay.
We only have room for 20.
Okay.
So this year we had about 1,000 people apply.
Wow.
And 20 people were selected. I do the selection.
You do it yourself. Okay.
20, I thought it was 32 or something. I think maybe more.
Well, actually, yes. This
year it was quite a big one.
Good, yes.
Yeah.
We had so many good people applying that I had to have more people, which meant that we were a bit squashed in the workshop. But
that's a seriously difficult task. How was it having to go from 1,000 down to 20 or so much less?
Well, I have somebody who helps do the pre-reading, right? So it's very hard because so many people are talented, and I'm looking for different things. So I'm just not looking for perfect writing. I'm looking for heart. I'm looking for passion. You can tell. You can tell when you're reading something that's been written by somebody who deeply cares about storytelling. So his grammar might not be perfect. So that's fixable. I'm looking for things like that, and it's very hard to say, but I can tell. I read something and it speaks to me, and I think, yes, this person has to come to the workshop.
Okay. How do you know the person hasn't cheated, hasn't cribbed the story, hasn't plagiarized it?
She'll find out.
Because I was thinking of entry myself. I had some things I was going to steal. How can you tell?
You know what?
Yeah.
I just assume that people are not cynical.
Yeah.
I want to believe that most people. But here's the thing: if you do steal and you get to the workshop, then
you will find out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You'll find out.
So many writing exercises in class that the first day I'll know that I couldn't have written that story.
Yeah.
Exactly.
There's a TV show right now. I think it was nominated for the Emmys last week. Matthew McConaughey, Woody Harrelson, True Detective. I think the creator has been accused of stealing as well.
Really?
Nico, I think there was a story about it. I'll find out more about it. They said he stole some of the lines he used in the TV series.
Oh wow!
So, but I mean, it happens all the time, especially in Hollywood. They steal a lot there.
If you actually,
we were talking about stealing later on about intellectual property. That's why, So,
if you actually found out that one of the students of the class stole like a lot of their work, would you eject them from the class, from the workshop, or would you work with them? Would you try and find out, Would you maybe like give them another test, or would you say no, that's it, you're out? Someone else is taking your place.
If they actually submitted work they didn't write.
Yeah, you found out.
Oh, of course they would go. I find that acceptable.
Exactly. We have a society right now. All right, we're gonna be throwing more questions out from our wonderful listeners.
Just now we have like loads of tweets, like 10 just come in about the book Purple Hibiscus. Everyone is like, I love that book. I'm trying to get people. I have at Torre Ruto on Twitter. I have at the Flora Willie on Twitter. I have at Whistler_Austin. A lot of people are saying, I love Purple Hibiscus. And he's asking what was behind the book.
Now, how did he get the name?
Yes, how did you get the name?
Well, first of all, I have to say it's not about me. It's not about my father. And I've had to say this very often because I think people assume that it's... And my poor father, who is this lovely, gentle, kind, quiet man, has had people give him evil looks sometimes because they think you beat your daughter, right? And it came from, I don't know, it came from many things. I was in the US at the time. I was homesick. I missed Nigeria so much. And I wanted to write about things I cared about religion, about family. I wanted to write about Nsukka, which is where I grew up, and it's a town I love. And so all of that came together and became Purple Hibiscus.
Okay, so that the name was from...
Was it
the flower in your family garden in Nsukka?
This is true. Okay. We didn't have flowers in the compound. But actually it came from, it wasn't the original title. I wanted to call it something else.
What was that?
I won't tell you.
Oh, come on.
But
the green beetroot shoot?
No, I wanted to call it brown yam.
Brown yam. That's not bad. I like brown yam. Please make sure you write the brown yam.
Please,
I wanted to call it breaking goals.
Okay.
But in the book, the purple hibiscus is significant.
Okay.
So my editor thought it would be a better title because it signifies the change in the family and how freedom comes and all of these things. So.
I have a question here. This is a faithful follower. She has a very interesting question. Chika Onichabo has asked, I want to ask who, if anyone did, who first discovered you, motivated you, and encouraged you to the top. Many young Nigerians who are talented out there have no encouragers and sometimes have no one to encourage them. And sometimes they write, and some people would like to help them. But they don't find anyone to help them. They don't have materials, they don't have the money, they don't have permission from family. Please, what's your take on this? I know that was quite a lot, but she was very passionate. She asked you all this.
But I think what I said to her in particular is just keep writing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to motivate yourself, and I don't think that not having people around you encouraging you is reason enough to stop working.
Okay.
I mean, I think as humans, we need to get a sense of validation. Sometimes we don't get it, and it's important to just keep doing it. When I started writing, it wasn't so much that my parents. I have very lovely parents, and I think they found it a little strange that I was this child who wanted to. My mother said to me once, "I'm going to have to buy shares in the exercise book industry." So constantly, I was 10, and I would write these sort of, novels, quote unquote, in exercise books, and I'll keep saying to her, "I need another book." And but so they encouraged me in that way. But I think really in the end it was I knew that I wanted to do this, and so I went out of my way to do it, which meant that, for example, when I was writing for Hibiscus, I was in college, I was working as well, and so I would stay up every night until 3 in the morning writing. I would write from 1 to 3 in the morning, then wake up, go to school, go to work, come back and write every night. Because it mattered to me.
How challenging was that? Do you think it's obviously the passion you had for writing that kept you able to do that? Because it must be very, very hard. Like, you have to work, you have to go to school, you have to write. Did you ever just think one day, I can't bother, I'm just going to work full time and make money, I can't bother with this? Or did you?
No, because writing is what I love. Okay. Writing is what I have always wanted to do.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure I could earn a living from writing, so I did in fact plan and think about what I would do to earn a living. So my plan was I would work in public relations and I would write at night. Then I got very fortunate and now I earn my living from writing.
Oh, wow.
Did you send your first manuscript, did you send it to an editor, a publishing house?
Yes.
Was there any rejections?
Yes, about 27 rejections.
Wow.
Okay. You don't forget.
You don't.
I haven't forgotten mine. I won't tell you how many mine were, but
It comes with the territory, I think, and it doesn't necessarily mean that what you're doing is bad. It might mean that it's not the right fit for the publisher. You've sent it to the wrong person. You've sent it to people who already have too many things they're publishing. The rejections can mean anything. It can also mean the writing needs work. It's not good enough. Okay. The first things I sent were not good enough.
So how did you go? What did you do after that?
I went back, I sat down, and I redid them.
Okay.
And then sent it again?
Yeah.
And
I kept sending, and so I went from getting just plain rejection letters to getting very nice rejection letters that were handwritten, and then finally getting acceptances. So it was a process, and initially it was very hard for me because when I got the rejections initially, I thought, oh my God. But slowly I started to realize it comes with the territory. Writing is part of the process, and I just kept doing it. I kept sending things out. And the reason I like to talk about my rejections is I think it's important for people to know that I didn't fall from the sky fully. That I did get 27 rejections, and I also like to tell the story of how some of the agents and editors who rejected my work are now
coming back.
Yes.
Really? You want to hear about that, please? What's your response like to them? Are you like,
yeah, you're the wicked girl. You're
you're like,
you send them. You write your own personal note. How you like me now?
You should write them a nice handwritten. Okay, so we did speak before about half of Yola Sons, saying that it was your baby and it was very close to you. So sometimes it is difficult to see it being made into a film. But your latest novel, Americanah, is also being made into a film. That will star Oscar-winning actress, the gorgeous Lupita Nyong'o, and Brad Pitt and his production company. How do you feel about Americanah being a film?
I'm happy. I think it's a good thing. Again, writing Americanah, I wasn't thinking about film. Actually, I was writing the book that I wanted to write, and it was just lovely that I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a good film. I think in particular because Lupita is the person I admire very much, and I think it's something that matters to her. I really love the book, and so it's not just about looking for a project to work on. So that means something to me.
Yeah. I think you think Angelina Jolie is worried about Lupita and Brad Pitt working so closely together so frequently. I think something's going on there.
No, they're married now.
Am I starting a rumor?
No, they're married now.
Lupita, I don't care about the marriage.
He's a one
I know you
man.
got, for now.
Well, they're married now, so if she does catch them, she can take his money. So it wouldn't be very
Guess
wise.
what the company's called?
What?
Plan B.
Oh, I see.
See where I'm going? See where I'm
that
going? The production company's called Plan B.
I'm sure Lupita's
So when he gets tired of Adelina and those kids,
I'm
he's
sure
out.
she's a respectful young lady. Thank you very much. And her eyes are somewhere else. And he's concentrating.
All right, so we're looking forward to that. Americanah. Hopefully that'll be out. So maybe 2015 at some point in time. I know. I know. High rumor gets started.
You are.
They get started by the jealous people. You know that's how. Okay, we're going to talk about the brand new song rework for 2014. Kush, Flavor, and Morel, and the message in it as well. Our strength is in our diversity. Was that part of what attracted you to the song, or how you wanted to be part of it?
Yes, absolutely. I love it. I think I love this song, and it's the kind of song that you just can't help but be moved by it. Really. And also, I think the message. In general, the idea of the message in art, I'm always very careful about.
Right.
But in this case, I think it speaks to something universal. It's something I believe in personally about Nigeria, but in a larger sense, which is that diversity is a good thing. I don't want to live in a world where everybody's the same. I would be bored to death. And I think also in general that it's sort of like if you put if you want to solve a problem and you put 10 people in a room who are exactly the same, or 10 people in a room who are different backgrounds, different genders, you're much more likely to solve the problem with the diverse group. They just bring different ideas.
Exactly.
And I think in Nigeria, I love Nigeria. I think it's very clear. I'm sort of just completely in love with my country, even though I complain about it every day. And I think that there's a lot that we have that we don't appreciate. And I think that often our diversity is something we look at as a negative, and it's really not necessarily.
Okay, fantastic. Also, I know that you like Flavor. Flavor is one of your favorite artists, right? Yeah. Okay, I know.
Because of his nice upper body, or
no, Chimamanda is an intellectual writer. Don't look at such low. This is very lowbrow.
No. I have to say, I appreciate the good body as much as anybody else.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
I haven't actually. I didn't know about Flavor's body. I didn't know about his music. What I like.
He's always walking around topless.
I find his music. What I like it because I think that there's something. It's not derivative, as I think.
A lot of the stuff, yeah.
And really, a lot of what I hear in Nigeria just seems, and there's just an originality. And again, what I talked about earlier, there's heart. I find that there's heart in what he does. It just comes across. And I love the influence, the highlight. Influence.
I also would love the fact that Kush got back together as well.
Yeah.
And also, not forgetting Morel, there was a whole new flavor. How do you feel about the success of the film here?
I'm very happy.
Yeah. You are keeping score on the money, checking your royalty checks. You know what I'm saying? It's okay. It's okay. You get to it.
It's wonderful. Look, here's the thing. It's wonderful to make money.
No, is it?
What made me very happy is I really wanted Nigerians, particularly because they opened in all these places before Nigeria, and then we had the problem of the censors not wanting to let the film show.
I think that helped the film as well because it kept it in people's mindset. Everybody wanted to see it, and
I think people wanted to see it before.
Yeah, they still want to see it.
No, it's still.
Yeah, I always say the pirates, please, if you see any pirate DVD copies, don't buy it. Go to the cinema and watch it. It's doing very well. So, did you get a final check, or did you take points on the film?
A final check. What do you mean?
The producers, ask, whether you get it.
Right. We just talked about money.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't. I wasn't involved at all in the process. I saw the film when it was done.
Okay. But I mean, the money-wise, how did you?
Yeah, are you talking about money?
Yeah.
That's all Olisa cares about. That's why I'm laughing. This is where the whole conversation is going. He just wants to know about your money.
People want to know. Look, we've got loads of questions here. They want to know how much did you get paid?
I can't see any.
Okay, maybe my eyes. Okay, what did it look like anyway?
Adjust the glasses. No, there's none.
All right.
You know what? I'm really sorry to disappoint people. There really isn't much. I haven't really made money from the film.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a small film.
Yeah. Okay.
It's a small film made by a small independent company.
Yeah.
It's the actors took major cuts to make this because they cared about it. So it's really.
No, I know that. I know. I actually shout out to the team and also
B as well.
B
Bandele.
and also our sister Yewande and her husband as well. Her husband, yeah, I was lucky enough that I got invited to the dinner party that they had when Chiwetel and Tandy Newton came down as well. It was great night. I got to meet them, and and it was labor of love, basically.
Yeah,
I know that, and that's what we wanted to succeed very badly. We've been pushing it here as well at the BFM. We want it to be a huge success. I think it will be the biggest film ever released in Nigeria.
Yeah.
I think the Avengers had the record. The Avengers film that came out about a year and a half, 2 years ago. Yeah. But I think this will break it. Yeah, this will break it. It's on track to break it anyway. You know.
So something that your fans actually do want to know, not about the money. These are real tweets, Olisa.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Beyonce. Now, I believe that Beyonce requested permission from you, I think, to use part of your recording for one of your famous talks, We Should All Be Feminists. It features on her song Flawless, a great addition to it. A lot of people love that song. How did you feel when they came to seek permission from you? And do you like the final product? Do you like your recording on the song? Do you like the song? Do you listen to it? Do you play it in a car? How do you feel about it?
Well, I mean, can I speak on behalf of Chimamanda?
Yes,
yeah, I mean, I know that. I mean, I've had people ask me permission to use some of my own speeches.
What speeches did you?
It wasn't at the TED event like hers. It was a bit more, lower level. But
I didn't know what speeches you did that anyone recorded. Which ones were they?
You don't know what I do.
I don't remember.
So anyway, I know exactly. I know how she feels. But sometimes people, they want to use you to shine and want to so like write your own stuff. But on a serious note, though, I know that you probably had being a serious writer, probably had reservations about letting somebody on the other scale of popular culture use something that you made up for serious subject matter. I mean, I think it was your second or first talk at TED, and by the way, all those speeches are now gone. They've been viewed like millions of times. Yeah. So exactly. So how do you feel about that?
I think pop culture is important, and what I'm very happy about is I think what I was talking about was gender and feminism, and which is that I think everybody in the world should be feminist, both men and women. Talking about what feminism means. I think the message has reached many, many young people that would otherwise not have even known to think about gender injustice. And I think that's a good thing. I think that's a good thing. My niece, who is 13, and who thinks that auntie being always bothers her about reading books and blah, blah, blah. Now she thinks it's very cool.
Oh, wow.
Because of the song, she says, auntie, I'm a feminist. Yes, we're making progress. Now I'm working on my nephew to get him to become a feminist.
Oh, that's a good one. That'd be tough. Good luck with that.
How's it going?
It's going fairly well. We have good days and bad days.
How old is he? 14. Yeah, you know the way to do it. Introduce him to really good-looking 16-year-old girls. That would change his mind. He will become a feminist without you pushing him. I'm just telling you. I'm just thinking like me. When I was 14, that would definitely get me interested. All right, got to talk. Speaking of young kids, we'll talk about education. A lot of people feel the level of education in Nigeria has retrogressed. What's your view on that? A lot of people are saying that Nigerians are all over schools in Ghana, South Africa, America, Malaysia, UK, India. So we're all over the world spending billions of dollars on education outside the country. What do you think of what do you think of state of education? How can we make it better?
Oh Lord, I wish I knew. I think it's a clue or something that our education system has become so bad that we have university graduates who cannot spell. And people who write. Can I take a minute and do a little rant about people who write in text language?
Yes. Yeah.
Sorry, you cannot write an email and you write U and it's a letter U instead of YOU. It's just ridiculous. And this is happening. People are doing this in ostensibly serious correspondence, and they're educated people. It's terrible. I think our education system has been allowed to fail. And when I went to, actually I think it started failing even before I went to school. When I went to school, it was still sort of okay. I got a very good education. I went to the University Primary School in Nsukka. Yeah. And I really think that it's based, if you have a proper foundation in primary school, it sets you up for so much. And I think it can be fixed. It's not that hard. I think if we have leadership that decides that education is important, we can make it happen. And it's all things. It's not just. It's also making sure that teachers are equipped and schools are equipped. It's about valuing teachers and yeah, it's.
I feel like you're right. Like there's not one particular group you can blame it on. I feel like everyone has to. The leadership. It's us. Teachers, students, I feel like everyone needs to work together to take it seriously, because I feel like it's just actually getting worse. And what Olisa was saying is that I feel a lot of people actually have to leave to study, and it's a shame. People should be able to study here at our own institutions.
But people leaving, you can't blame people for leaving.
No, of course.
If the situation is terrible and you want your children to be well educated and you're fortunate enough to be able to afford it, then you leave. And I think it's up to us and the leadership in this country to change that. And we should have public education that's affordable and decent.
Exactly.
All right, fantastic stuff. So we're looking forward to hopefully improved education. I mean, we're not saying that people shouldn't go abroad to study. It broadens your horizon, broadens your mind. But at least the basic education up to university level should be much better in Nigeria. A lot of people asking when is the next novel coming out, next book coming out. They want to know. Are we seeing something in 2015? Okay. So he's going to play by ear. So we'll find out more about that. And also today is No Music Day. Today we're trying to make sure people are aware of what's going on. It's not just about music as well, but also about intellectual property, about people getting the rights for that to use. We know that pirate copies of DVD copies of Half of Yellow Sun, the film, have been out there. If you do see anyone selling it, please arrest them. You can do that, or call the police for them and get them locked up, because that's crime. So, what do you think? I mean, have you had any of your books pirated, or do you feel that how can we eradicate this menace that stops people who own the intellectual property from getting what is due to them?
I have had my books pirated. Yes. At least I'm told by my publisher. I think it's terrible. I think it's part of it's I mean, it's a complicated thing. I think people are not educated enough about these things, I don't think. And I think it's also a question of a system where we have laws that are not enforced. Most people are not even aware of it. I think some of the people who sell these things don't actually realize that
the damaging.
Yeah, that is fundamentally a problem, because if you're a creator and you can't get what you're due from what you've created, you're not able to keep creating. And so I mean, I don't know what the solution is. I'm not happy thinking about my books being pirated, and it's not just for selfish reasons, even though there's that. I'm very happy to get my royalty check.
Yeah, of course.
But it's also just a larger thing. It's a larger idea about, which is why for example, I will never buy pirated things knowingly. I would steal material on the internet. I would pay for what I use, because it's an important thing. Not just because I'm a creator as well. I don't want that to happen to me. And I think, in general, if we appreciate culture, art, music, we have to support it, and we have to support it by doing it properly and paying for it and letting people who create have their due. And if we stop buying pirated things, then there isn't a demand for pirated things. And so people who produce pirated things are less likely to.
Okay. All right. For any young lady or young gentleman out there who wants to learn more about Nigerian literature, what kind of authors and books would you recommend? I mean, I know the great ones like Achebe and Soyinka, but any other people you might suggest to them to get a ground that books? Excuse me, books that are not necessarily being used in schools. Not
There's a novel I like very much called Fine Boys by Ihusa Imasue.
Okay.
Chika Onigwe is another Nigerian writer whose work I like. There's a novel called by Lola Shone, which is called The Secret Lives of Baba Sheki's Wives. Which is hilarious, and I really recommend it.
I think she's Wale Soyinka's daughter-in-law.
Yes, she is. But her talent has nothing to do with that. She's
I know.
Actually a very talented
writer.
And see, whenever I ask this question, I go blank for a bit. And there's Helon Habila, whose work I saw. He has a novel called Measuring Time. Okay. And I would also recommend reading widely, not just Nigerian writers. I think also African writers. I'm quite Pan-African in my passion.
Okay.
And I would recommend the Kenyan writer Binyabanka Wainaina. And there is a writer from Zimbabwe called Petina Gapa.
Okay, that's a good start.
Yes,
All right, Maria, have you wrote it down?
Yeah, I got some of them.
Yeah.
Yes, so we know that reading is your main passion and that's what you love to do. But what do you like to do aside to that? Like, what are your personal hobbies? What do you love to do in your spare time apart from reading, if you have time?
Well, you mean apart from reading and eating ice cream?
Yes, if you have time. What would you like to do?
I don't know. Usually people ask me that, and I think, wait, why do I need to do something else? My life is quite boring. I don't do anything exciting like go mountain climbing or something. I like to read and write.
Okay.
I am interested in politics.
Okay.
So I follow politics in Nigeria and the US and the UK. I don't know. I like style. I like personal style. I like fashion.
Okay.
I'm quite girly.
Yes.
Yeah. I like natural hair.
Okay, that's good too. Me too. Me too.
I'm a bit of a foodie. So I'm very interested in sort of natural food and wellness and health. I'm actually quite an expert at such things as natural remedies for things.
Okay.
You said you're a foodie. Do you have a favorite dish? Something that you love to eat all the time?
Moi moi. But done in a particular way. I have my own recipe.
Okay.
All right, maybe we can steal that one. See.
Yeah. Maybe you should share.
Half of a yellow moi moi. Next book, maybe.
That's true. That can inspire your book. Because you said you're a foodie.
Brown yam.
Brown yam and half a yellow.
You never know. Next thing you might have your own TV food show.
Exactly. That's a good. You should get commission for you.
You know, Americanah for food.
Yes, okay, I like that.
You know, okay.
I put half a yellow moi moi. Brown yam, half a yellow moi moi. That's a good book.
All right, we're looking forward to that.
Yes, we are.
I gotta ask you, okay, are you married, single? What's your status? A lot of people want to know.
And that one is true.
They've been asking, yeah.
Yes, right. I'm going to move on from that.
Okay. Which means they do want to know.
Really, there's like lots of tweets. Like, are you married?
Yeah.
Are you married?
Yeah, Miss. Yeah. Yeah. Or even better, if you don't answer that, but you could also.
I'd like to address about what to be called. I think every adult woman should be called Ms. And it's MS and pronounced Ms. That's what in the way that every adult man is called Mr. Whether or not he's married. I think every adult woman should be called Ms. And of course, if the woman makes the choice to be called something else, that's fine. But I think the standard should be Ms. for every adult woman who's 18.
Okay, so you're not gonna answer us on the your status then, but okay, let's flip it then. What kind of man attracts you, or do you find attractive?
You know, is it raining?
No, we're inside. We're inside. How could it be raining?
I could have sworn there was something wrong with my headphones. There was just silence there. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Because a lot of people want to know. I mean, they want to know.
What I find attractive in people, I find I like it when people are genuine. I like people who are who they are. And it doesn't matter what that is, but as long as people are genuine, I really can't stand people who are fake or false. I don't have patience for that. I'm attracted to confidence as well, and I think it goes with being who you are. And clearly interested in people who are intelligent. And I think intelligence is different from being educated. Okay. The people who have tons of degrees and are boring. And the people who don't have any degrees and are actually intellectually curious and ask questions about the world. And I find that very...
I like that. That's good. I like that. I used to be attracted to confidence too. That was my ex-girlfriend. We broke up. I'm just joking.
I thought her name was Charity.
Confidence. I lost confidence. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was Charity. Oh, Patience.
No. Charity has gone.
Patience is gone too.
It began at home, but it's finished now.
Oh my gosh.
All right, we've had a great time. If you have any more questions, let us know. We also, she's been generous enough to bring copies, signed copies, and hopefully you can see her signing them. It wasn't signed by me, I promise you. Copies of Half a Yellow Sun. So these are real collector's items. We don't want to see them on eBay, please. All right. If you do want to see them on eBay, please come through me. I'll help you sell them. But no, just kidding.
Are you really kidding there?
Just kidding. So, I want to say thanks for coming through. Any message you want to give out to any young people out there listening? And we have a lot of young listeners who are inspired by you.
I would say it's lovely. I'm so happy that I came. So thank you. No, I would just say, please read. I mean, it sounds very silly, but really read. I think we spend so much time, and I say to people, instead of spending 2 hours browsing some sort of unnecessary website,
Mm-hmm.
maybe do that for 30 minutes and spend an hour and 30 minutes reading something.
Mm-hmm.
Just read anything. Actually, on the internet, there's sites where you can actually read things that are useful.
Yeah, that's true.
And so yes, and also I would say it really matters that you believe that you can do what you want to do. And that working hard is very important. And even if people are saying to you, you can't do it, you can motivate yourself. Tell yourself that you can.
I have a question on that. What if people are saying you can't do it because they actually think you're not talented? Do you think an individual should kind of take the advice on board and wait out, or do you just think if you believe you can do something, you should just do it regardless of what anybody, even if it's your mom, your dad, brother, or sister?
Sometimes people can be wrong, but sometimes they can be right. I mean, it's possible that you're not talented, but then you won't really know until you try.
That's
So
that's
I'm a believer in trying. I'm very keen.
Chances are, if you can't spell well now, you're not going to win the Nobel Prize at some point in time.
Go to school.
Yeah, we can go to school and correct that. So those are the chances, you know. It's going to be a long stretch unless they start giving the Nobel Prize for pidgin English or bad spelling. All right, Chimamanda, thanks for coming through. I hope you had a good time hanging out with us.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're looking forward to it. Okay, we're going to be giving away the books over the next few weeks, so I think some might not make it even to the people who are. But these are authentic signed copies. For real. All right, we're going to be observing No Music Day, thanks to our good friends at COSON. When we come back, we'll talk about it, talk plenty about it as well, let you know what's going on. We will have superstar guests from MTN Project Fame, West Africa Academy, coming around about 10:30 on MTN Fresh. It's been lovely, fun having you with us. I want to say best of luck with the next project, and also we're looking forward to the Americanah as well. And hopefully more people will be embracing the song from Kush. I know Flavor is sending our messages out there. So brand new remix of 2014.
Yes.
So we're going to be talking more about that later on. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's take a quick break and come back. When we come back, we'll be talking about No Music.
It's on fire.
Woo, people are on fire.
On this press beat.